Ngozi Megwa is the Senior Vice President of Digital Partnerships at Mastercard Middle East and Africa. As such, she manages Mastercard's relationships with digital partners across the region, including mobile network operators, digital giants, and regional fintech partners, among others. Her remit includes bringing together a broad set of Mastercard capabilities, payments infrastructure, and assets that enable digital partners to accelerate innovation and societal impact in digital payments across their value chain. And she joins us now. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Ngozi, we've read about Mastercard's partnerships with banks, fintechs, e-commerce platforms. What is your approach to entering these partnerships and why?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So Mastercard is a technology company in the global payments industry. And what that means is that we connect consumers, merchants, financial institutions, and governments together and enable them to make forms of digital payments. And we do this by enabling them to connect to a multi-rail platform, which is future-proofed and contains a lot of platforms and capabilities that actually help them drive consumer convenience, whilst not ignoring safety and security as well. And if you look across most of the partners we work with, whether they're in the telco industry or logistics industry, they fundamentally have 2 to 3 broad needs, right? At the heart of it, they want to make sure that they serve their consumers, they're meeting their needs, and they're doing that in a way that's safe and efficient. And for some of these partners that we work with as well, they have a lot of cash in their systems, whether it's cash relating to how they pay their drivers or how they pay their merchants. So operational efficiency is important for us. So that's the foundation of our partnership. We work with partners either to help them engage more broadly with their customers in a more personalized way, or we also partner with them to strip cash out of their system and make them more efficient. And if you look at the partnerships we've had across the region, you would see elements of that as well, whether it's Uber or Delivery Hero, to name just a few. So that's the foundation of our partnership and how we think about partnership in the region.
So tell us a little bit more about your partnerships here, how they benefit MasterCard, and why this region is so important to MasterCard.
Yeah, so MENA is a very diverse region, as we all know about. I think there are a couple of factors that make it so. We all know that, our region has the highest population of youth, right? And, these young people are very dynamic. They're very innovative in how they approach things, and they want to be served differently. But when you layer that as well with the fact that actually MENA houses the richest and the poorest communities, and on top of that, 95% of transactions in the region are still cash. It's no surprise then that you start to see that, first of all, governments are really focused on making sure that they digitize the economies. We see that in the UAE, we see that in Saudi. But you also see as well that, the fintech business here is booming as well, because when you have this melting pot of needs and innovation, then you need players who can fulfill those needs. And I think I was reading some stats the other day about 85% of the fintechs in our region are in the payment space. So it's a very innovative hub, right? Especially when it comes to payments, because technology can play a really crucial role in helping strip cash out of the economy and digitize it, whilst also meeting the very diverse needs of the youth. Just one other element talking about the youth, Mastercard did a study recently. It's called the Mastercard Payments Index, and about 80 to 95% of the youth said that they're very keen to explore new ways of paying, biometrics, cryptocurrencies, contactless payments. So it's no surprise that, digital payments and digitization in MENA is a very interesting and growing part of the economy, and Mastercard plays a very crucial role in enabling that.
Absolutely. Now, one of the panels you are moderating at Mastercard's upcoming Collaborate to Innovate event on September 28th and 29th is on breaking down barriers to innovation. Tell us a little bit more about what the discussion has in store and what the whole event means to Mastercard.
Yeah, now that was a very exciting panel, because we brought together customers from different industries. industries, right, to get a quite balanced perspective. And it was refreshing to see that actually, irrespective of the dynamics of the industry, most of the panelists were approaching innovation in the same way. And I think at the heart of it, if we look back decades, technology has always played a very crucial role in driving innovation globally and in many economies. And that hasn't changed at all when it comes to, what we call this new wave of digitization. A couple of things came out very strongly. I think the first one most of the panelists felt was that as technology evolves very rapidly, it's important to stay very close to what's going on. And there are many ways of doing that, but an important one is to stay in touch with the startups and the fintechs who are driving innovation in this space. And Mastercard, for example, that's why we have our Start Path program, where we bring together fintechs across different stages of development life cycles so that we can stay on top of what's going on in that space. So I think that was the first thing that was common across most of the panelists. Secondly, it was important that as we think of technology innovation, we keep the consumer front and center. What does that mean? That means understanding their needs, personalizing the offers to them, and making sure that the experience is seamless, not just in terms of how they interact with the solutions, but also making it safe and secure. So that resonated really strongly across all the panelists. And I think the third and final one was, as we go into emerging technology, we hear a lot about artificial intelligence and how that's going to change the future of work. And, people have different opinions about it. It's important to deploy innovative technology in an ethical way. And I think, that's at the heart of what most of these panelists were doing. And if you also think about Mastercard as well, we are deploying new technology like AI, and we are deploying it in a way that actually, adds value to the ecosystem, enables, transactions to be done safely and securely across the payments value chain. So I think those were the three things that resonated the most, irrespective of the fact that most of the panelists were from different industries.
And finally, just to wrap up, how do you think collaboration really encourages growth and inclusion across all sectors?
Yeah, and so, if we think of MENA as well, right? So we're talking about the fact that it's a melting pot of the rich and the poor, and there's a high level of unbanked and underserved in our region. And what we've seen is that emerging technology is playing a key role in terms of how we drive financial inclusion, more broadly speaking. Now, it's important that partners come together, right? So whether you're a pure technology company or whether you're the government or whether you're a private institution, I think we all have a role to play to really make sure that whatever solutions we put in the market are economically sustainable, they're scalable, and they meet the needs of the consumers. So that's why at Mastercard, we really place a lot of emphasis on the types of partnerships we have. We partner with governments, we partner with regulators, we partner with financial institutions, we partner with digital players as well, because we believe that each player has a role to play in the ecosystem. At the end of the day, financial inclusion has to be sustainable. It has to meet the needs of the consumers it's serving, and I don't think one single partner can do so. So that's the approach we take to partnership, and we have a very audacious goal of enabling 1 billion consumers into the digital economy, and we certainly can't do that on our own. We need to partner.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.